The giant everyone feared. Until one shepherd boy stepped forward for 40 days, fear ruled an entire nation. Every morning, a giant warrior walked onto the battlefield and issued the same challenge. Every evening, he returned and mocked them again. No one answered. Not the king, not the generals, not the soldiers. An entire army stood frozen by fear. But then a shepherd boy arrived, and history changed forever. The story takes place in 1 Samuel chapter 17. The armies of Israel and the Philistines faced each other across the Valley of Elah. Both sides were prepared for war, but neither side moved forward. Why? Because of one man. His name was Goliath. He was a champion warrior from the Philistine army. The Bible describes him as a giant. He wore heavy bronze armor, carried massive weapons, and looked invincible. Every day he stepped forward and shouted at Israel, "Choose a man and let him fight me." If Goliath won, Israel would become servants to the Philistines. If Israel won, the Philistines would serve them. It seemed simple, yet day after day, nobody accepted the challenge. Even King Saul was afraid. The soldiers who had trained for battle stood silent. Fear had become stronger than their faith. Then one day, a young shepherd named David arrived at the camp. His father had sent him to deliver food to his brothers who served in Saul's army. David was not there to fight. He was not a soldier. He carried no armor, no sword, no shield. But when he heard Goliath mocking Israel and insulting the living God, something stirred inside him. David could not understand why everyone was afraid. He asked, "Who is this Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" The soldiers were shocked. Didn't David understand how dangerous Goliath was? Didn't he see how large the giant was? Of course David saw the giant, but David also saw something the others had forgotten: God. David remembered how God had protected him while he watched his father's sheep. When a lion attacked, God helped him. When a bear attacked, God delivered him. The same God who had rescued him before would rescue him again. Word reached King Saul that a young shepherd wanted to fight the giant. Saul called for David. Looking at him, Saul was doubtful. "You are only a boy," Saul said. "Goliath has been a warrior his entire life." But David's confidence was not in himself, it was in God. Finally, Saul agreed. He placed his own armor on David and gave him a helmet and sword. David tried to walk in them, but the armor didn't fit, so he took it all off. Instead, he walked down to a stream and selected 5 smooth stones, 5 stones, a sling, and faith in God. That was all he carried onto the battlefield. As David approached, Goliath laughed. The giant looked at the shepherd boy and mocked him. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" But David was not intimidated. He answered with words that would echo through history. "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." Then David declared that everyone would know there is a God in Israel. And then something incredible happened. While everyone else had spent 40 days running from the giant, David ran toward him. He placed a stone into his sling. He swung it, released it, and the stone flew straight toward Goliath. It struck the giant in the forehead. Immediately, Goliath fell face down to the ground. The giant was defeated. The Philistine army fled. And Israel won a victory that seemed impossible just moments before. David did not win because he was stronger. He did not win because he was more skilled. He won because he trusted God when everyone else trusted fear. And that is why this story still matters today. Most of us will never face a giant on a battlefield. But we all face giants. Fear, anxiety, doubt, financial struggles, broken relationships, health battles, problems that seem too big to overcome. The lesson of David and Goliath is not that giants don't exist. The lesson is that God is greater than the giants we face. Everyone else looked at Goliath and thought, "He's too big to defeat." David looked at Goliath and thought, "He's too big to miss." Faith changes how we see our battles. When fear focuses on the size of the problem, faith focuses on the power of God. So whatever giant stands before you today, remember the shepherd boy who trusted God, because the same God who stood with David still stands with his people today. And sometimes, all it takes is one step of faith to bring down a giant.